So is overclocking so is overclocking the laptop worth it? Hello everyone. Today I'll Hello everyone. Today I'll be discussing the topic about overclocking laptops, specifically this model. This is the Legion 5 Pro Generation 8 with the Ryzen 9 7945HX and RTX 4060. It comes default with 32 gigs of RAM, then 1 terabyte of SSD. So it came with this kit, which is a Crucial DDR5 5600 MHz, but it is locked to 5200 MHz. So I was wondering if I can overclock this laptop. So let's get on to it. So I decided to put it to the test and see how much I can push to review his hidden potential. So there's a lot of caveats here. But what I did is this. It is actually a week-long adventure that with a lot of try and errors, and to make it work, it could be worth it, it could be not. But let's dive into it. So first what I did is overclocking the RAM. But before that, I changed to this RAM. It's a G-Skill 5600 MHz at CL40, which is in 2 times 32 gigs configuration. So it comes with a caveat where this is overclockable by the BIOS. But unfortunately, it will always be crashing and it causes a lot of issues. So I dived it down and found another set of RAM that allows you to overclock by theory. So I got this one. This one runs at 6400 MHz at CL38, but only with XMP 1.35 volts. Unlike the Kings, unlike the G-Skill one, where it doesn't allow any XMP or voltage increase at all. So when I try to load this RAM in, it doesn't have the overclocking feature. So when I try to load this RAM, it does not have any overclocking options in the BIOS. So I'm quite disappointed where it does not allow to. So I dived it down and I've come across this online thread where you can use this way to overclock, so-called overclock your laptop against the manufacturer's default settings. So I went down and I overclocked the RAM with a lot of try and error. I managed to get this one to overclock at six. Okay, oops. I managed to overclock this RAM at 6000 megahertz at CL38 and even go lower with higher voltages with no issues. But however, when I try to overclock this RAM, it does not allow me to increase the voltage, which will cause some instabilities. And because for AMD Ryzen 7000 series, for the best RAM speed, it will be this 600 megahertz. For the As for the RAM speed of Ryzen 7000 series, the best RAM speed will be 6000 megahertz, which this RAM does not offer, which also most RAM out there. So I tried to tweak it out a bit. It caused a lot of BIOS failures, crashes, and also even corrupted my laptop BIOS twice. And I had to find another way to refresh the BIOS, and it did work well, but it was such an adventure, but it's very tiring. So I managed to clock this 5600 megahertz CL40 to 6000 megahertz at CL36 without any voltage change. I tried to increase the voltage for this RAM, but they just doesn't budge over 1.1 volts. So that's for the RAM. And now for the CPU. As for this CPU, it allows you to overclock the CPU by the default BIOS settings. So I go ahead and enable the PBO, which is called Precision Boost Overdrive. So what is PBO? So basically, it allows you to push as fast as you can, assuming you have the thermal headroom. So which is what this laptop does have in a way, and so which I did. But when I did enable it, I also want to make sure it doesn't go too hot. So right, so I make it to run as low voltages as possible, which I did it with the curve optimizer with the negative 5 magnitude, and it works well. But when I try to push further at negative 10, it started to cause some issues. Unfortunately, it does not give me more headroom, but I did try to get some benchmark with negative 10. It's actually way better, but it's just too unstable and giving me a lot of blue screens. But I do hope that this CPU is able to push me more. But unfortunately, I did not win the silicon lottery. And sure, so both this overclocking of CPU and RAM, and of course, when I overclock this both CPU and RAM, I did some benchmarking, and yes, it does improve a lot. Yeah, but with this try and error for a week, it's so painful. So now, as for gaming, I have only tested one game, which is Fortnite, because that's what I like to play. Yeah, at least for my main channel. So I tested out before I overclock, which is running at 5200 megahertz at CL36, no CL38, and then and then for the PBO, it'll be the negative 5. So it does give me okay numbers, like when I do medium settings for ray tracing, far distance, and also maximum textures with DRSS DRSS quality. I get around some 50 to 60 hertz, 50 to 60 frames per second, but sometimes we dip around 40 to 30, depends on the area. So after overclocking the RAM and try to adjust models on the CPU, I managed to get it at least balanced with 60, 50 to 60, more on 60, and there's no much dips at all. So it does really help on the gaming performance as a ray tracing. But when as a normal gaming as a regular gamer yourself, I don't think it's worth the risk to take, because it's very dangerous to do so. Especially you are risking of hold on. So the games for actually okay. As for the other games, did not test it yet, but I think it will be not much of a difference compared to if you're not overclocking that much. Yes, you do able to push more, but for this 1 week ordeal, I don't think it's worth the risk for most of you guys. Because we need to do a constant tweaking, you'll face instabilities, you'll face corruptions of the BIOS and your system. Yeah, one thing, I actually had to reinstall the Windows again. So yeah, so in this case, please don't do this if you are a regular gamer. But instead of overclocking, you can try some things that will actually help your laptop instead, especially in longevity, usage, and stability. So one thing I always go for is to get a good cooler for the laptop so it don't get too hot and it stays cool all the time. Also maintain also a very good cleanliness of the laptop, especially the cooling fan. make sure once, maybe every 3 to 6 months, you give it a check. If there's dust, just clean it out. You stay cool and make sure your system will be under control. If your laptop's able to let you under voting, especially for Intel ones, you can might as well just do so, because with undervoting you're using your PC less power, and you give also, in most cases you also give more power for the laptop to run faster frequencies because of the heat, and it just make you use less power for the CPU, so it's a win-win. Of course, by all means, if you want to take the risk to overclock and you're comfortable with it, then sure, might as well go ahead. We can maybe get a discussion on how I did it in detail, and also we can basically do a try and error run. But importantly is this: every manufacturer, they supply the laptops with their default settings is because they want to make sure every user use it well and within their standards. If not, you break the laptop easily, and basically it costs a lot of money to replace it, right? So in a nutshell, overclocking is good for tech enthusiasts, but let's say you are a casual gamer, I don't think it's worth the risk to take. Again, you're risking of breaking the laptop, you're causing damage to the laptop, and also you're causing a lot of instability issues, and you might even have to send it to the repair shop to repair even. So if you're comfortable or want to do to squeeze out all the juices from the laptop, then yes, go ahead. But please do your own research first. If you're not sure, you can ask me in the comments. I'll reply you something like that. Yeah. Then that's it. So I hope. So let me know in the comments of what do you think about this video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.